Believe it or not, I'm rolling in a foreign ride. Got one wiper, just like on a Benz. So, pretty much nothing here reminds you of a foreign car anymore. The term Zaporizhet's foreign car just sounds absurd. There's a lot of nonsense, stupidity, and plain idiocy in modern history. But we, believers in the best, believe that the sick will recover, or they'll be cured, or patched up, whatever, and there you shine again. It's the ZAZ Slavuta, which translates to Slavuta in Russian. That gives you that feeling of a past war, bold and strong. Because a person who buys a ZAZ essentially fears nothing. A Tavria owner dooms themselves to a feat. Though, credit where it's due, it's an affordable feat, as there aren't many components in the car, but they're cheap and readily available. The pedigree of the ZAZ 1103 Slavuta traces back to the Soviet subcompact ZAZ 1102 Tavria. That's where it became the progenitor of a long-playing family. Produced at the Zaporizhia Automobile plant Communer since 1987, with minor changes, still being hammered out until 2011. True, on its deathbed, everyone already called it something else, Slavuta. The main question, what sets you, Slavuta, apart from Tavria conceptually? Nothing, except now it says you ask for it in Ukraine in the documents. My Polish, well, and of course, the bodies. Or rather, not all of the body, but its rear end, where the main tools of the designer were an angle grinder and a welding machine. In profile, Slavuta is a real serious sedan. And giving credit to it, with 4 doors and new bumpers, it looks not bad for the early 2000s. Just pretty small. But most importantly, of course, it's the paint job on the car. After the Koreans came back, cars started getting painted much better. But before that, when they began painting the body in metallic, they accidentally increased its service life on the website. The thing is, the paint is 2-component, and the technology had to be followed. The repaint itself was better. With regular acrylic, cars were not resistant to rust, they rusted even faster. And on a small Dolina car, 3,980 mm length, 1,578 mm width, 4,225 mm height, any rust looks like the beginning of death. The little 99 Slavuta will never escape comparison with its older Russian brother. And standing, hey, that's debatable. Centuries arguing over who's older, who came first, and who dug the Black Sea. Whether Slavuta rides differently, I compare it, for real. Yeah, the car is kind of loose, straight line is fine. But when changing lanes, it's kinda wild. Controlled feeling like the body reacts to the steering with a delay. And dynamically changing lanes, it continues to wiggle its hips. Nothing changed up front. Suspension's like a swinging candle with cylindrical springs and telescopic shock absorbers of two-way action. The rear suspension, semi-independent with a transverse beam, cylindrical springs, and hydraulic telescopic shock absorbers of two-way action. Compared to the Tavria, it's reinforced because the car got heavier due to a new unit. The car's a paradox. Stiff and stable on straights, but a mess in turns. All because of the lack of a stabilizer bar. What was good until 0.2, designers? Were you smoking something? Radios, wires, some swollen belly. Ended up like that. Under the hood, Slavuta has seen and still sees many modifications of the same engine from the 80s. For that period, the engine was progressive in design and considered pretty cool, even somewhat cooler than foreign counterparts. It's the MEMS 245 from the Melitopol plant. Its displacement is 1,000 cubic centimeters, power 58 horses at 4,500 revolutions per minute. We've got a carburetor. Check out that fashionable aerodynamic teapot air intake. The engine can go 130,000 kilometers, but that's not precise. Valves need adjusting every 10,000. The belt changes every 60. The fuel pump might overheat, but we know that. And it's making me sad already. And you see this little hook and loop, it's a safety system from the Soviet Union. During a head-on collision, the loop hooks onto the hook, and the hood won't chop off the driver's head. Slavuta, you're another safety feature. This, of course, is the spare wheel. Engine oil name, air filter, all in a Russian. Sea of disorder. The spare tire under the hood catches the eye. It was a good solution for the 80s. The spare had to be placed there according to the specs. But not giving it up in the 90s, keeping these wheels on ZAZ, was a mistake. Looking at the car, it seems like drum brakes everywhere, but here's a balalaika for you, front disc. Under this beautiful cap, an aluminum hat hides the disc and caliper. The disc, for especially talented guys, becomes warped from overheating after 10 to 15,000. Oops. The interior, of course, differs from its predecessor. We have the luxury package. There's rear window heating, a large instrument cluster. But since the car is from before, we still don't have a tachometer and stuff. Cool, but somehow very fluid. In my opinion, it seems that on plastic models, on a clay model, all these design innovations looked good, but when they transferred them to plastic, something got lost. But again, to say that it's not beautiful from an artistic point of view would probably not be true. But at least everything is neatly covered with plastic panels, and everything is done very technologically. For example, the door map. The interior materials stepped up their game. Take note, this is the Style 90. For the year 2003, when our ride was born, it's all kinda sad and gloomy, but practical. The fabric upholstery can take a beating from a bull, and most importantly, it won't get worse. I'm nitpicking, but it all looks normal. Oh Lord. And now the main difference. The the rear doors. But I won't go there because it's cramped. Barely fits 2 people. And if the dudes in the front are tall, you need passengers without legs in the back. Let's check out the trunk, the aft. And they tricked you right away. It's not a liftback. It's a night sprint. In short, notchback. It's a hatchback that resembles a sedan or a distinctly 3-volume form. And a liftback is also a hatchback that just has a slightly larger rear overhang. Like, for example, the IZH Combi. Leaky moly, real German quality. The shelf is empty, so it's in demand. Everything's good, wide and spacious, but the lid could be made to lift even higher, or else you feel like you're half bowing. All of this is, of course, casuistry. The trunk grew compared to the Tavria Slavuta by 50 liters and with the seats folded by 110 liters. But even a small threshold brings sadness. Here I'll jump to the 5 gears right away. Here it's a weird mechanic, where the 5th and reverse gears swapped places. They just added the 5th after the Beetle was already ready. Very loud in the car, the heater howls, the engine howls during accelerations. The world is buzzing, your ears through the skin. As I've already said, inside Slavuta, you're a warrior, and the only thing you fear is nothing. Because the necessary minimum of spare parts is in the trunk. If something pops off, and it will, you'll change it without breaking a sweat. Yeah, the brakes make noise, but up to the 5th gear, not the other way around. You need to get used to it, but sitting is quite comfortable and cozy. Warm in winter, great visibility, the car goes. What else do you need for happiness? Somewhere around 5, 4, 3 points? 3rd, that's it, and I'm the king of Podolsk. How many pigeons on the elevator? In Russia, Slavutas didn't catch on because of the financial crisis and the tightness of the Russians. They had foreign cars, especially since we ourselves produced the Super VAZ 2107 until 2014, which was undoubtedly successful in simplicity and reliability. Slavuta Tavria, call it what you want, shamelessly outdated. But let's give credit to the Soviet designers. It was good compared to competitors from the past: Opel Corsa, Volkswagen Polo, Peugeot 205, Ford Fiesta, Renault 5. For Slavuta, a decent car for the money. Can't say much more about it. Risky to bash, pointless to praise. Good luck!